What's up, everybody? This is Classic Black Dude, brought to you by your host, me, Clark Jones, a.k.a. Pod Strickland. On this show, you get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you care about what's happening with black people and how we really feel about things and not just what we say in public, this is the show for you to tune into. Interviews, we play games, and we really get in the inside stories of everything that's happening, and we get it from the perspective of funny people, from serious people, people that matter like politicians, and people who don't matter like comedians who I just love to talk to. You get to see the underbelly of everything happening in black culture. Make sure you subscribe to Classic Black Dude on all streaming platforms. This is your host, Clark Jones, a.k.a. Pod Strickland. Listen up, Classic Black Dude.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marquez Brownlee.
And I'm Andrew Manganelli.
And in this episode, we got a lot of things to talk about. Well, we have to. We have to talk about the red hydrogen dying. We have to talk about Tesla. That's just the way this podcast goes. And we got to talk about Team Trees and Elon's donation. But of course, I also want to try to understand the streaming wars battle between Twitch and Mixer and surprise player YouTube. It's all in this episode. Buckle up. All right, let's start it off with a recap. We've got the last 2 weeks of videos on the channel. First up would be OnePlus 7T Pro. Mm-hmm. So this phone came out. It's maybe the smallest update between phones of the year. The OnePlus 7 Pro came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
Then we got OnePlus 7T a little before that. Then OnePlus 7T Pro. Names are getting kind of tough. That's kind of a theme of phones this year.
Yeah, the whole T thing always makes it sound like 70, like the number, like
70.
divisible of 10.
Yeah, so it's the 7T, not the 70. And that's so hard also because when I try to explain what phone I'm using to friends, I'm like, yeah, this is the OnePlus 7 Pro, and that's fine. And then they're like, this is the OnePlus 7T Pro. And they're like, the what? The OnePlus? And they're like, yeah, but OnePlus 70. So 71? Anyway, the phone came out. It's got a couple small tweaks. There's also a McLaren edition, which is, it's a Snapdragon 855 Plus in both phones. It's 8 gigs of RAM in the 7T Pro, 12 gigs of RAM in the 7T Pro McLaren edition.
Just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
I feel like we make that joke way too much. Maybe the real joke is naming schemes from all the smartphone companies.
It's tough. It's gotten kind of bad. I mean, 11 Pro Max from the iPhone. I'm getting off topic, but like, there's a lot of bad names of phones. Anyway, the only version of these that are coming to the US is, and this is the whole entire name of the phone, the OnePlus 7T Pro McLaren Edition 5G.
Nice.
That one's coming to the US. Recently was in the news. That's the only small update we have, but to T-Mobile. Mm-hmm. So I've used a Verizon 5G phone. I think AT&T is going to have 5G phones, but this is going to be the
real
first
5G?
I think so.
Okay.
We'll have to test it. I mean, that would be kind of nice to actually see if it's different from what we've already tested, but this will be the first T-Mobile 5G phone.
Okay.
And the second ever OnePlus 5G phone. They had the OnePlus 7 Pro 5G earlier this year.
There was a 5G?
Yeah.
I can't even keep...
And
I feel like
think
5G is so unimportant right now that I don't even really...
Yeah, you don't have
remember.
to pay much attention to it. It's just a small update from the OnePlus 7T Pro from the video since we didn't have that in there. But all right, then next up, we took a quick look at the AirPods Pro. This was my first impression, but I did a first impressions video. I'm going to hand you the AirPods Pro case right now. You've seen them briefly, but AirPods, #1 headphones in the world.
Yeah.
I mean... Easily, they went straight from #1 wireless headphones to #1 earbuds to #1 headphones in the world. So new AirPods is kind of a big deal for a lot of people. How are you feeling about this new design?
The case was interesting. When I first saw it online, I was like, oh no, it's huge. It looked a lot like the Sony WF-1000
XM3?
Yeah.
Names.
Yeah, names, man. And it looked big. That's a bulky case and not something I would really want to put in my pocket. And then I realized it's small. It's shorter than the AirPods case, but wider. So when you flip it on its side, it's right around the same size. I think same thickness we looked at.
Yeah.
So still fits in your pocket really well. I've never used AirPods. I'm on Android. AirPods never fit in my ear. I tried them. I still recommend them to almost everyone. Everyone with an iPhone, I say get AirPods. They're stupidly convenient. They just work. They work like perfectly.
So I was with you. I first looked at the case and I was a little concerned by the size, but I think just the way they flip open and snap closed really conveniently, they're nice. regular AirPods don't fit in my ears, so
Yeah.
this is the number one thing I'm concerned about. But the main new feature of these is the active noise cancellation and the rubber silicon tips. So these are going to exist alongside, like, a lot of people are sort of talking about these as if these are the new AirPods. These are going to be sold right next to the current AirPods. These are AirPods Pro. They're $250. They cost a lot more.
Yeah.
They're competing in this premium space, but they have noise cancellation and ideally much better sound.
So I saw a lot of people upset about the price. I don't think it's terrible. And coming from Apple, I think it's less terrible because of the fact that we expect Apple to be way more expensive. But if you look at other truly wireless earbuds like the Sonys, they're $250 already, right? $240, $250.
Plenty.
So the wireless charging case AirPods 2 are what, $170?
I think I just checked. So if you get the new AirPods 2 with the wireless charging case, $199 already.
$199?
Yeah.
So it's $50 for noise cancellation.
Yeah.
For me, ones that would fit in my ear. So
Yeah.
ones I can use. So I think $50 is worth being able to use them.
A lot of just spoiler alert. I'm only a day and a half, 2 days into testing these, but a lot of people are going to buy these just because number one, AirPods are popular.
Yeah.
I just saw a tweet on my timeline of a photo of people waiting in line at Grand Central Station to pick these up on day one while wearing AirPods already. So people who already have AirPods, whether they're the first or second gen, they love them so much they're willing to go take it to the next level, hopefully get better quality, hopefully stay in their ears better, and get noise cancellation.
Yeah, that I haven't even listened to music, but just putting them in my ears and listening to the noise cancellation, or the, like, what do they call that? It's not canceling noise, but it's canceling all the, like, humming and buzzing around it.
Yeah.
It felt like if you listened to Waveform episode 1, put them in, and then you were listening to Waveform episode 2. If you guys remember first episode, audio is a bit rough. That's exact. I honestly thought when I put them in, someone turned the HVAC off in the office.
Wow. I mean, they're good. So
it's cool.
So the video we put up, that was my first impressions with it. Spent 24 hours with it. The full review is coming, but my thoughts so far are it's impressive. The noise cancellation is pretty good, and they sound pretty good. And they only sound pretty good because of that noise cancellation.
Okay.
Because if you leave transparency mode on, or if you keep noise cancellation off, they kind of sound just like AirPods did before, a little tinny, a little lightweight. So, the technology is good. Full review of those coming soon, but I have a feeling these are going to be very popular.
I'm sure they will.
Okay, so then next up was, of course, the long-awaited Pixel 4 review. So a lot has happened since the Pixel 4 review, both good and bad, but mostly just a smattering of updates and complaints. First off, my personal favorite thing to notice, and the world sort of all noticed at once, but I mentioned in my review, my Pixel 4 went back to 60 hertz. It's a 90 hertz display, fully capable. Went back to 60 hertz, what felt like constantly. And I mentioned this in the video. I went to the developer settings and forced 90 hertz because I couldn't figure out why it kept going to 60 so often. The world found out. It's because there's a setting specifically in the OS where, not even a setting, it's just in the code, but it will go to 60 hertz anytime there's low ambient light. So anytime basically you don't have a lot of light around you, screen brightness is going down, it will lower to 60 hertz. And that's pretty often.
It's
Spoiler.
I think they say somewhere around under 75% screen brightness, right?
Yeah, I think that was the original way that people found it, is when your screen brightness was down. But then also if you just turn your screen brightness down while it's bright around you, it'll still stay at 90. It's mainly, I think, I think it may be multiple factors, but it was when ambient light is low.
Okay.
I guess they're assuming you're not looking at the screen super hard, so you don't notice, and that's a way to save battery.
It's a big assumption.
I guess what it comes down to is they were being aggressive about going back down to 60 hertz often because they had small batteries and they had to. But this is one of several reasons that I've ended up going back to the OnePlus 7 Pro as my daily phone.
That's fast
from the
for you.
Pixel,
Yeah.
which that's not something I thought I would be saying.
No.
When I heard Pixel had 90 hertz display, I was like, okay, good. I'm not going to think it's slow and annoying and laggy like the last one turned out to be. But yeah, this is one of those weird updates.
I mean, the thing is 90 hertz was the thing that was like, okay, this is the hype thing that we got.
Yeah.
This is what's probably going to make people actually pick it. And now you get it at such a low amount of time. Like, you didn't buy your P100D to do 0 to 60 or whatever, that kind of torque, only in the daytime.
Right.
Like if you bought that car for those specs and then at night could only drive it 50 miles an hour, you probably wouldn't be that hyped about it.
I guess, you know what? Here's an analogy I'll make, because this is also kind of partly true. Since we're on Tesla analogies, I love those. My car only does 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds when the battery is full.
Okay.
It's capable of doing 0 to 60 just as fast with a lower battery state, but it doesn't. It's a little slower. It's 2.5, 2.7 seconds. And it's kind of, I mean, I notice, but I think a normal person would still think this is fine. This is pretty fast.
Yeah, it's fast.
And so the analogy I draw is like, if you're trying to come up with some ideas of, all right, when do we throttle down to 60 hertz for saving battery on this phone? Well, I guess all the times that you don't really need 90, like I'm watching a YouTube video, that doesn't have to be 90 hertz. Okay, perfect. Do 60 there. What else? If I'm just reading text, you know, maybe if I'm just in the Kindle app or any sort of reading app, I don't need 90 hertz. Okay, maybe. I would still like to swatch pages in 90 hertz. That would
like
be nice.
this, just scrolling in general, I feel like I would still like it, but
and
most
maybe
people.
I don't know. There's a couple other things where you're just like static on the screen and it's been still for a while and you know they're not moving it. And I think they also use literally when you're looking away from the screen, it goes back down to 60 hertz. So it's using literally the front-facing camera to decide if it should be throttled up or down.
And that makes sense, because if you're not looking at it, who cares?
All of those make
what
sense.
refresh rate it is.
Yeah. This brightness one was, I think, just one more step where there were just so many times where it was at 60 hertz that like I noticed. I was like, this does not feel like a 90 hertz phone.
Well, yeah.
Other than like sometimes when I'm scrolling in the app drawer.
I mean, you said it in the review before we all knew what that specific reason for it was.
Right.
So, and other people were noticing it also. So the fact that we have this specific reason this quickly already is, it's not great.
Yeah. So if you found yourself like me wanting more 90 hertz, you can go into the developer settings, enable them, find the force 90 hertz option. Warning, because I did this, it will destroy your battery life. And I guess I was okay with it because I have a wireless charger at my desk and I have a charger in my car and I can get around crappy battery life even though I don't want to. But yeah, that's your warning. It will not do great.
It's a far cry from 2 or 3 episodes ago when we were talking about the ROG Phone 2 going a whole weekend without even plugging it in.
The other side of the spectrum, man.
That's pretty crazy. That
phone didn't even have fast charging, but if you have a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, you don't need it. You're just not going to have to charge very often. So yeah, that's I guess your Pixel 4 update. There's a couple other little things about it, like the cameras. We have basically the camera comparison to do now that we have Deep Fusion on the iPhone. We can really go back and go head to head with the iPhone 11 Pro. I did a video with SuperSaf where we compared directly iPhone 11 Pro camera versus Pixel 4 camera, and you might be surprised at the amount of times that it's sort of a coin flip. There's often situations where Pixel 4 looks a little bit better. I personally think, here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Comparing the two cameras, I like Pixel 4 photos more often than I like iPhone photos. But if I could only pick one, I would pick the iPhone.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
I mean, I feel like it kind of makes sense because I work with you and I probably know why, but explain it for everybody else.
So here's why. So there's a bunch of different reasons why a camera can be good. A lot of different things you might take photos or videos of. Most of the things people take photos of, especially that I take photos of, are objects and people.
Yeah.
And for those situations, in normal lighting, objects and people, Pixel 4 photos, a little contrastier, a little better colors. It's a little bit cool sometimes, but I can warm it up. And better detail, and they just look incredible. HDR, I just like the look of a punchy Pixel 4 photo. Over the iPhone, 8-9 times out of 10.
Yep.
But in other situations, let's say I'm taking a landscape, it has an ultra wide. Let's say I'm taking a video with excellent stabilization, excellent microphone,
4K
iPhone
60.
4K 60. The video in the iPhone is drastically better than the Pixel.
Yeah.
The other day I was visiting a house and I wanted to take an indoor video in this house and it didn't have an ultra wide angle video, and I wished I had brought my iPhone because I couldn't go wide enough to get the whole room in the photo and the video. So there's going to be a bunch of scenarios like that where the iPhone camera is clearly better than the Pixel's camera. And they're not normal shooting scenarios. I think this is worth a video. I think like this whole concept of like cool. I liked one more, but I would recommend or pick the other more is kind of interesting. Tweet at me. Let me know. What do you think? Should this be an entire video,
another video
of just Pixel 4 versus iPhone 11 camera? I think it could be pretty fun. But
yeah, I feel like I just realized this today. I think there's one more phone that might come out this year, so we're getting into that point where we have all this new stuff and we get to make all our really fun videos, and I'm so excited. November is such a fun month.
You can spoil it. You can spoil it.
I mean, we're really excited. We started brainstorming the camera bracket, the blind camera bracket challenge, which was has been my favorite video I've made since we started here. Maybe besides, Elon Musk or something like that, but. We're really pumped about it. We have some fun new stuff this year. I think they're going to be long videos, but they're going to be super fun. So everyone get ready.
We're getting there. I think maybe one more phone. Got to get that Mate 30 Pro in here, and I think then we'll have our 16 phone bracket.
Yeah,
and we'll start to put that together.
There's some really fun ones on the bracket right now. I can't.
Okay, we made a mock bracket. I'm just going to tell you right now. We made a 16 phone mock bracket, and if you can imagine, like from last year, we had all these high-end phones. We had a couple of interesting, crazy ones that did these weird upsets that you would never expect. Like we put the Poco phone in the last year's smartphone camera bracket, fully expecting it to get knocked out in the first round.
Yep.
And then we saw the damage it did. So
it beat iPhone 10.
It beat an iPhone in the first round. So yeah, this year, let's just say we have all kinds of fun matchups again, and it should be a good one. So anyway, that's your Pixel update. I guess we should go on to if you have any content recommendations. I do have one that I actually recently just watched. So Porsche Taycan Turbo S Taycan. Here we go again. Porsche Taycan Turbo S versus Tesla Model S Performance. Top Gear did a video comparing. It's just straight up comparing the two. They had them both on a track.
That's awesome.
And a lot of people know and respect Top Gear and their opinions. And I figured this is an ideal place to figure. If they're going to do a well done comparison, this would be it. And I think it was. It's on their YouTube channel. I think the conclusion that you come to while watching it, and they sort of wrapped it up perfectly, is people are going to compare these cars to each other nonstop. Why? Because they're both four-door electric sports cars, but they are for completely different people.
Yeah.
And they, aside from both being fast in a straight line, pretty much every other decision that these companies make regarding their car is in like diverting directions. One for, the driving enthusiast, the other for the driver. There's tons of different reasons why these cars are different. So
for sure.
If you want to appreciate both of these cars more than you already did, you can watch that video. Made me appreciate the Porsche a little more, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've not like YouTube content or anything, but I just have to say that Silicon Valley's back out. Arguably one of my favorite shows on TV, at least currently one of my favorite shows I've watched. New season. I believe it's the last season. First episode, pretty good. First episodes always have to kind of like set up the plot for the season, so it's a little slower than normal. But first of all, Main Gear made it in the first episode. Our friends down the road. One of the main characters, Dinesh, was sitting in one of their chairs and using one of their computers. So that was pretty cool to see someone that we know.
Is that like a you made it moment where if your tech company appears in Silicon Valley in some way, you made it?
You know what's even cooler about that is Wallace, the CEO of Main Gear, got a tweet from Thomas Middleditch, the main character, saying he's a gamer. He's been using Main Gear since before he was on the show.
Nice.
That's
maybe
crazy.
He brought that to the show himself, and he was like, instead of this set prop, let's use this other tech company chair. There you go.
Yeah.
Sick.
It's pretty awesome. But yeah, mostly putting it up there. I'm sure almost all of our fans watch it. If you don't, you should. And partially just because I like to tell Marquez to watch it literally every chance I get.
Silicon Valley, you know what? I don't watch that many TV shows. Like I don't watch any. Is really where
That's
I'm
not
going
much.
with
You're
that.
right.
0 is a small number. But the gist I get is, especially from the clips I've seen, if I were to enjoy any season of a TV show based on my likes, it would probably be Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So I might go have to check out that new season.
I'll get you there somewhere.
Or at least
someday.
a couple. Is that a bunch of, how many episodes is it?
They're not long, 8 to 10 maybe a season.
Okay.
I think 4 or 5 seasons. 5th season. Yeah, this is the 5th season.
I'll tell you what, I'll watch an episode this weekend and maybe see where it goes.
We did it. The podcast is over. This was the long con. It only took 8 episodes, but this is all we needed.
First episode of the new season this weekend.
Sounds good.
A couple of small quick updates. One, rest in peace, red hydrogen.
Uh-huh.
You had a good life. No, you didn't.
Not really.
No, you didn't. So the story is the red hydrogen project is canceled. Jim, whose project it was at Red, abruptly basically left Red, retired, due to a number of things and I guess issues. But the project dies with him. There will be no Hydrogen 2. There will be no modules. There will be no other attachments, no other updates to Hydrogen. If you have one, don't expect it to get the newest version of Android.
Jeez.
Yeah, Hydrogen is over. I wrote down that this is good and bad.
Okay, explain.
It's good because it was a bad phone, and I don't want to see like this whole project just have a horrible name for themselves.
Yeah, you don't
know what
want Red to drag their name through the mud for
not even that.
project.
I don't even care if Red drags their name through the mud. Like, they make some good products and they make some bad products. Like, that's just the way companies are. But like the whole like smartphones are different, getting different and interesting thing was kind of like, well, I guess it just comes down to I had a lot of hope for that phone and it turned out poorly, and I'm not mad that it's dead. But it is a bad thing, I think, because competition is good. And in theory, a version 2 of that phone or the modules that they make could have been great. Maybe, probably not. But if they were, that would have been a whole nother segment or a thing to think about. Like, oh, maybe a giant tank of a phone with a 3D display and a huge battery and that's made of metal and doesn't care about thin bezels. Maybe that's a direction some consumers want to buy.
Yeah.
So it's a good and a bad thing, but I can't say I'm shocked that
I'm not that shocked. I mean, when the only quote-unquote accessory you release in a year of a phone that's literally made for accessories was a $50 clear case.
Clear case.
For a phone that is already gigantic and barely fits in your pocket. It's just not... It's not pointing in the right direction, you could say.
Yeah, there were a lot of promises made. None of them really happened. So, RIP Red Hydrogen 1. And also, I have a Tesla update.
Surprise.
I have a Tesla update, guys. It's nothing to do with mine. It's actually so Franz von Holhausen, who's the lead designer at Tesla, has been for a couple of years since Model S. He went on the Ride the Lightning podcast where he talked for I think a good 40 minutes on all of their cars. Great podcast. Shout out to that already. If you've listened to other episodes, you know he does a great job. He's interviewed Elon before, and he spoke with Franz and he talked about all of their cars. And for the brief couple minutes that he talked about the Roadster, the new 2020 Roadster, he said it will be, quote, even better than what we've unveiled in every way.
Okay.
He said that.
Every way. Literally every way.
Yeah. Now,
this could be a whole video. Which things haven't changed?
Yeah. Well, as a spec person, I'm like, okay, every way means like the specs will all be better. The specs they announced, if you just want to take it back for a second, were that it would be 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, which I think was later updated to 2.1, but like that would be the base
we're not even
model.
I'll just buy a Prius if we're not even breaking 2 seconds anymore.
That was going to be like a pretty big deal to break the 2-second barrier. But if that's in theory better, that would be insane. A 250 plus mile an hour top speed. I don't know how you make it better. I mean, if it's over 250, it's over 250. A 620 mile range, which over 1,000 kilometers for an electric car is already incredible. If that's something that they say will be better in every way, that sounds great.
Yeah, for sure.
And a 200 kilowatt hour battery with the triple motors. I don't know if they're going to stick to the 200 number, but it'll be a bigger battery. But what I think of when they say better in every way, I think they're just talking about, I mean, he also said they need more time. It's officially delayed.
Yeah.
But I think they're talking about interior stuff, that steering wheel, the autopilot system, what they're doing with the hardware there, the computers inside, all of these things will be better than the original. They might have another screen, they might have a hood, whatever. They're working on updating the prototype. Yeah. It won't look exactly the same as the one we've seen. I think that's really what he means.
It's a way hyper way of saying it needs some updating.
Well, he's a good talker.
Yeah.
He spoke very eloquently about those cars, and that was one of the statements I found fantastic. Okay, that was a long recap. We're going to go back. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk to you a little about Team Trees, a little bit of a YouTube social media takeover that we've seen, and a little in depth about streaming platforms and their competition. We'll be right back. This episode of Waveform is sponsored by Policy Genius. 'Tis the season to elect benefits through your workplace. So most people know open enrollment as decision time for healthcare coverage. but it's also the perfect moment to reassess your life insurance needs. To properly provide for their families, most people need 10 times the life insurance coverage that they get through their jobs, which means that your employer life insurance is leaving you underinsured. That's where Policy Genius can help. Policy Genius is the easy way to shop for a life insurance plan that's not tied to your job. In fact, in just a few minutes, you can compare quotes from the top insurers to find your best price. Once you apply, don't worry, the Policy Genius team will handle all the confusing paperwork and red tape, and that life insurance you bought through Policy Genius stays with you even if you decide to leave your job. Policy Genius doesn't just make it easy to get life insurance, they can also help you find the right home, auto, and disability insurance as well. So when you're looking at your workplace benefits for this month, make sure to double check your life insurance options. Then after, go ahead to policygenius.com to get quotes and apply in minutes. Policy Genius, the easy way to compare and buy life insurance. This episode of Waveform is brought to you by ShipStation. The holiday rush is coming, and if you sell stuff online, you better get ready with ShipStation. So with more people buying online than ever before, you have to be able to ship orders out quickly, efficiently, and affordably. But how do you keep track of all these orders or decide which shipping carrier to use, or if you're getting the best rates? Luckily, ShipStation can help. So with just a few clicks, you'll be managing orders, printing labels, and getting those products out the door and delivered on time for the holidays. Whether you're a huge company selling on Amazon, or a small at-home store selling on Etsy, or just some old tech on eBay like us, ShipStation brings all your orders into one simple interface that makes managing your orders easy and managed from any device or even your cell phone. ShipStation works with all major carriers, including USPS, FedEx, and UPS, so you can compare and choose the best shipping solution for you and your customer. And they offer big discounts on shipping costs. So now any business can access the same postage discounts that are usually reserved for large Fortune 500 companies. You always know you're getting the best deal. No wonder ShipStation is the number one choice for online sellers who ship more in less time with the best rates available. Take all the hassle out of holiday shipping this year. Let ShipStation help you handle it all with ease. So just use the offer code WAVE to get a 60-day free trial. That's a 2-month free trial of no hassle, stress-free holiday shipping. Visit ShipStation.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and type in WAVE. That's ShipStation.com, enter offer code WAVE. ShipStation. Make ship happen. All right, we're back. So you may have seen over the past few days or weeks, hashtag Team Trees trending somewhere on the internet. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Is it Facebook trending? Maybe. I don't know. Team Trees. Team Trees is a thing that you've seen across the internet. I feel like we should break it down and explain what it is, because I actually love it.
It's incredible.
And it's a pretty sweet thing to talk about. So I think it starts with Mr. Beast.
For sure.
Mr. Beast, if you don't know, Jimmy Donaldson, YouTuber from, what state is he
North
from?
Carolina.
North Carolina,
think.
okay. He's done some incredible videos in the past. I'm a fan of his stuff. I met him at the Creator Summit, but YouTuber who's, I guess I would describe his videos as just extreme, taking things to the extreme.
Yeah, very extravagant.
What are some, can I go look at some of his video titles? I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I think titles are. The first one I ever remember, I'm pretty sure he spun a fidget spinner for 10 hours live.
Things that you wouldn't expect a person to do or to have any reason to do.
That's the big thing. Things that there's no reason to do this, but you will watch somebody do it.
Maybe kind of like along the Vsauce line, where you might wonder what would happen if someone did this or asked this. But let's see if I go back a little bit. Last one to take your hand off the boat keeps it.
Yeah, so I think the big thing is he got popular and then took the money he was making from that and immediately invested it into new videos, which is awesome. You see too many people get big and just buy everything. He's just dumping money back into videos, which makes them, you know what? Insane is a very clickbaity word for a title. Mr. Beast deserves to use insane in basically every single one of his videos. It actually is insane.
I'll back that. Yeah. Here's a couple other titles. Surviving 24 hours straight in a rainforest. I gave my brother 24 hours to spend $100,000. Last one to leave the pool of $20,000 keeps it. Surviving 24 hours on a deserted island. So you get the theme here. Yeah. His viewers, his subscribers, he recently passed 20 million subscribers, basically challenged him along the way that once he reaches 20 million, he should try to plant 20 million trees. Mm-hmm. Just another crazy thing. Who could possibly do it other than Mr. Beast?
Yep.
And they sort of got started with this idea and realized 20 million is...
That's a big number.
That's a huge number. I mean, you don't see 20 million of anything very often. So the idea for Team Trees is to make it a site-wide collaboration. And I say site-wide because it's kind of a YouTube thing, but it's really the whole internet. So he's partnered up with the Arbor Day Foundation, and they've created this website, the teamtrees.org website. They'll be collecting donations where $1 donated equals 1 tree planted.
Yep.
And so that's the concept, right?
Yeah.
Everyone can commit, everyone can donate, everyone can promo it. And it's sort of a feel-good, like bring the entire internet together around a good cause thing. Almost no problem could possibly be seen with Team Trees. Let's just plant a bunch of trees, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of gone that way. They've, I think, passed 7 million
over
trees.
8 now.
Over 8 million trees, and it's been less than a week planted or committed to be planted. And these don't all get planted at once. This is going to be, going through the end of 2020. And then once, hopefully, we reach 20 million trees, over the next couple of years, they'll be planting trees in various rainforests and national parks and places where they need to plant trees, and they'll be planting specifically native trees to those environments, places in need.
I think Arbor Day Foundation works with, at least in the U.S., national forest and national park members to make sure not only are you planting the right trees in the right places, but not overplanting and destroying ecosystems and stuff like that. I mean, there is some people want to make sure it's a legitimate foundation. And from everything we've seen, I mean, we're not total experts at this, but it seems completely legit. It's a great cause. We love forests, obviously. It's supposed to help climate change, which he's gotten a little backlash on, and he had a response to it that I
think that's the dumbest backlash, by the way.
It's a very dumb backlash. But he just said something along the lines of, you know what, 20 million trees isn't going to completely solve climate change, but
shocker,
it's better than doing nothing, and doing nothing's how we got here. So,
and it's united a good amount of people from. I'm just going to go over to the top most trees donated list. So you could obviously go donate yourself right now. $5, $1, $20. All of it counts, and I encourage you to go check it out and donate if you're interested. That some of the top donations are someone just called Ukraine, who who donated 50,000 trees. A bunch of YouTubers on this list beyond the original 600 that were partnered. So Jeffree Star, Chris Ramsey, Ninja, Lachlan, Jacksepticeye, Mark Rober, Mr. Beast has donated himself, Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter. And then you might notice something up at the top of the list, who donated 1 million trees yesterday. Mr. Elon Musk himself has made the decision to support Team Trees.
Now officially known as Treelon Musk, I believe.
He did change. He does what he does best and just turned it into a meme. His username is Treelon.
How long till the avatar is a tree?
It already is.
It is already?
It is already.
Is it smoking pot like in the Joe Rogan podcast?
No, it's not. It's just a tree.
Please somebody make that. I just want a tree with Elon's face smoking pot.
It's probably already a thing. Yeah.
It needs to be.
I want to take a little bit of credit for convincing him, because he was sort of on the fence, and he asked on Twitter about Team Trees, and I sort of replied about the Arbor Day Foundation. And I mean, you can look this stuff up on the teamtrees.org website, but eventually, with some other behind-the-scenes coaxing, we convinced him to donate 1 million trees.
Yeah.
And that's a great start. So if you aren't already on board, #Team Trees, check it out.
Yeah, it's almost halfway there if you think about it like that.
That's
8 million.
Incredible.
Yeah,
20
it's been like 4 or
trees.
5 days. It's pretty nuts.
It's on a great trajectory. So yeah, teamtrees.org. Check it out. All right, I have another topic I want to talk about, just because I'm curious about it, and this is more in your world.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering what's going on. So I saw the headline: Shroud, the streamer from Twitch, going to Mixer this week. So I only know so many things about Mixer, which is that, let's see, it's a Microsoft-made competitor to Twitch.
Yep, exactly.
Live streaming platform that paid Ninja a bunch of money to go there and live stream there instead of Twitch. That's all I know. Now Mixer has gotten Shroud. Can you explain what's happening? Because I have no idea what's going on anymore.
So the fact that you heard the name Shroud is...
I have.
It's kind of just proof of how big he is, because Ninja, everyone's heard of Ninja. Ninja got big in the most popular game out there. He became mainstream.
Would that be Fortnite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be. Ninja's mainstream, so pulling Ninja over is obviously incredible.
He was the biggest streamer on Twitch, right?
Yeah, he was. I mean, he streams with like Drake and like professional athletes, like
Right.
on the regular, maybe not on the regular, but pretty often.
Like
he
was so massively popular that he would bring people to Twitch. Like he was important for business at Twitch.
For sure. I mean, he was at the New Year's Eve ball drop
Right.
in New York City attempting to get people to floss, but that's a whole nother story.
That didn't go great.
Yeah, he's mainstream. Shroud is more of the, if you want to call him like the gamer's gamer, like he's been a force to be reckoned with in the first-person shooter community for a long time. He played Counter-Strike competitively for a team called C9, is at least when I remember. I'm sure he played for other places, but he's just, when you hear people say is like a god at gaming, that's
So
Shroud
like,
is the god of FPS gaming. You could, I'm sure you could argue it, but
he sounds like a more respected character in this community of streaming games.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
He played Counter-Strike for a long time, and then do you remember when PUBG got really big?
Yep.
He started playing that, and he was insane. He was so good at it. People watched it all the time. He blew up. He quit playing Counter-Strike, quit his professional team, and that's when he went to full-time streaming, and he's just been on this insane upward trajectory since. With all these Battle Royale games coming out, he's been incredible at them, and he's so good at games, I almost can't watch him because the way he moves is so fast, it's semi-nauseating. It's almost unfortunate, but I mean, I love him. I think he's super entertaining to watch. He does some crazy things. He's gotten to the point where he's gotten so big, he started a gamer house, and a bunch of other streamers live in the house with him. But whatever. This last week, we saw him switch to Mixer, which is big news.
So he switched to Mixer, I'm guessing, because he also orchestrated some sort of deal where he would get paid and he would, bring his audience over to Mixer from Twitch. So now that's two. When I was looking into like Ninja moving to Mixer, all of the criticism and politics of it were like, okay, you got Ninja, but that's not bringing enough people to keep your site alive. Like, you still have to get people to go to Mixer for other good reasons. And now that they've brought, at least convinced Shroud that it was a good idea, who's had a much longer career, it has me wondering, what is it about Mixer, or what is it about Twitch that makes it enticing? Is it something great Mixer is doing? Are they that different? Or I think there's Twitch messing out.
I think there's a few things. I think Twitch clearly has the audience right now.
Yeah,
it's been around forever. It's grown its audience. It's pretty much brought streaming to the mainstream thing it is today.
Yeah.
Mixer is much newer. It's owned by Microsoft, so it's got its backing. It can stay afloat, but it needs to have a reason to stay afloat. So bringing Ninja was a great first step. The thing is, his numbers dropped quite a bit because the audience just isn't there. People go on Twitch because maybe they're watching Ninja, but on the side they have all the other people they're following, so they can switch over to someone else. Where if you go to Mixer, you just have Ninja.
Right. So anytime you try to transfer an audience across mediums, you're going to have some sort of percent drop off.
For sure.
So if Ninja had, I'm just making up numbers, if Ninja had 10,000 people watching him on Twitch, when he moves over to Mixer, you can expect some portion of that, maybe half of them, to follow him over there.
Yeah.
How did that go with Shroud?
So, I mean,
or is that
Shroud's
so
still really new. His first couple, he was hitting like 80,000 concurrent viewers, which is, they're great numbers on Twitch and Mixer. It was big news. It's weird. I think the Shroud move, I'm assuming based on Twitch contracts, Shroud couldn't move till now. I'm sure there's no way you just get Ninja and then be like, oh, this is good, and then not think of Shroud till 2 months later.
Okay.
So I have a feeling they wanted him sooner. They couldn't get him.
They were working on it. Okay.
The 2 month gap, I think, is kind of tough. They could have really bought into that Ninja hype and brought Shroud over sooner. I think the thing is Twitch is big. It's almost too big. There's a lot of controversy with the way they moderate. It's very, very, what's the word I don't know about, inconsistent. Inconsistent is the nicest way of putting it.
Oh, Twitch moderation.
Twitch moderation.
I hear a lot of stories about who got banned from Twitch or who got suspended from Twitch or whatever.
Yep.
That's what you're talking about?
It's extremely, extremely inconsistent.
Double standards.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said it, not me, but I wanted to. But the problem with that is think about it like on you, like this is how people make money. You can't have, it sucks to be on a platform and not knowing that one day you might do something. It's live too. You can't edit, if you do something accidentally, one person might not get banned, but then the next person gets banned. And when you get banned, you're losing money.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
this is I guess similar to what you might find. I mean, there's other live streaming platforms that have come before Twitch, and even YouTube has a live streaming platform. It's not as
It's nowhere near as popular.
It's not as popular, obviously, but you have the YouNows and the Periscopes and the Instagram Lives and even other Ustreams that came before.
Justin TV was before.
I used to do Ustreams just for fun. That were like you just talk to the audience and go back to YouTube. So I guess the question here is Mixer offering like a better version of Twitch? Like, is there? Because here's the thing: YouTube has tons of problems, but they are the biggest video platform. So if you want video on demand, you put it on YouTube, you get the numbers and the eyes on YouTube. And if YouTube screws up, where do you go? There's not too many options. Is this a sort of a situation where Twitch is the live streaming platform, but if Twitch starts messing up or has some moderation problems or content problems or whatever it is, Mixer's trying to be the place to go, or are they not there yet?
As of right now, Twitch is just better. It's going to be better. But if we're comparing this to something like what was that VidNow or something that tried to compete against YouTube?
Oh, a couple.
What was the big VidMe? It was VidMe, right?
That's one of them. Yeah.
Okay, if I were to compare people leaving YouTube to VidMe to people leaving Twitch to Mixer stands way more of a chance of actually competing with Twitch than VidMe ever stood trying to get anything from YouTube. The fact that two of the biggest creators, imagine right now if VidMe pulled PewDiePie and
well, that's the thing. I was
Mr.
thinking of that exact situation. Two of the biggest, or even the two biggest creators from Twitch seems like to me a bigger deal than the two biggest creators leaving YouTube.
Yeah.
And I know that doesn't sound like think about it. Like PewDiePie, 100 million subscribers, billions and billions of views every year. Take him off YouTube, right? And then take, I don't know, the next biggest, I don't want to say Ryan's toy reviews, but like take the next biggest, take 5 Minute Crafts, take another 500 million, or sorry, take another 50 million subscribers off the platform that go to whatever. So now you have a competitor with 150 million people on it, and you have YouTube that still has billions and billions and billions more, and creators that will rise up to fill in the wake they left, and YouTube would still kind of be okay. That's the too big to fail type of thing. So how many more, here's a question.
Yeah.
How many more streamers would Mixer poaching from Twitch how many more would they have to poach to actually scare Twitch a little bit?
I mean, they had to have scared Twitch a little bit. Twitch has to be kind of scared already. First of all, just losing Ninja as like their face is bad. That's just, it's not good. It sucks for them. They can't be happy about that. Shroud even is an extremely, extremely popular streamer with basically zero controversies behind him. He is the family-friendly streamer. Nothing's wrong with what he could do. Like, he doesn't do anything bad. He just plays games and he's incredible at them. And he was probably the face of Twitch, maybe a little before Ninja and then after Ninja as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Dr. Disrespect will argue that he's been the face of Twitch since 10 years before he started.
Classic.
Back in 93, 94. I forget when he was the back-to-back champion, but Mixer has a while to go. I think they need a few more big names. I think if they can get 5 big names that a lot of people, where their viewers view all of those 5, then what those viewers can do is they'll be on Mixer. One of their favorite streamers isn't playing a game they like or ends their stream, they can stay on Mixer and switch to the other streamer that's currently streaming.
That's what it's all about.
That's a big thing.
A huge, huge part of why Twitch and YouTube are successful is because they can keep people on the site for a long time.
Yeah.
And so streamers like Ninja or Shroud or people generally, they're streaming really often, right?
Yeah.
So when you don't have that favorite streamer that you just gravitate towards the site to watch, you leave the site.
Yep.
So the more of those streamers that they have that people just gravitate to watch and they'll bounce around between them, the longer you're on their site, the more money they make, the more successful they are. That's why Twitch is killing. That's why YouTube is killing, because everyone's on YouTube. If Mixer, I'm with you. If they can get a couple of those, I don't know how big the ecosystem is, but if they can continue this path, and they're backed by Microsoft. They've got money, right?
They've got money.
So if they continue this path and they keep poaching the next 3, the next 4, the next 5, Dr. Disrespect moves over. The next,
he said there's no chance, but
I mean, we'll see. Money talks, right? So we see 5 or 6 streamers move over, and then suddenly people are watching their 3 favorite streamers all on Mixer. They don't really have a reason to go back to Twitch.
Nope.
If Twitch or if Mixer isn't letting down these streamers and they've set up a sort of an equivalent ecosystem over there,
that's
minus the issues.
A community. They need to build a viewing community where the Twitch community, it's a lot, but it's a little crazy, but that's why Twitch is winning right now. It has a viewership and a chat community. Mixer needs to get that, and I think the best way Mixer can get that is to bring over more names. It's going to cost a ton of money. I cannot imagine what these two got paid for this.
In theory, eventually you reach a tipping point where other creators will want to follow without getting paid, right? So if the top 2 or 3 switch over, they have an established like income stream from Twitch. They have no reason to leave. But if Mixer comes along, here's a giant bag, then they move over, and their small community of people who also stream sort of the same way will just kind of follow because Mixer is great. Maybe they get to this point of momentum where it just keeps sort of cascading. So here's the question.
Yeah.
Mixer, Microsoft. Twitch, Amazon.
Yeah.
YouTube, Google. Who wins?
Who wins?
Is there a trajectory towards one of them winning right now?
Here's the thing. I have it winning in a different way. And it's actually Phil DeFranco said it in a recent just Phil DeFranco show that I found super interesting, something that literally affects me and the way I watch them, yet I'd never put it together.
Okay.
Ultimately, YouTube wins. And do you know why?
Wins? Okay.
It has nothing to do with YouTube's streaming platform because it sucks.
No one uses it.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't suck. No one uses it.
Yeah.
Correct. The reason YouTube wins, every single big streamer on Twitch, on Mixer, wherever, has a YouTube channel. And do you know why? Because videos on demand suck on Twitch and they suck on Mixer.
And they all put them on YouTube,
and
where there's also revenue.
They have an editor edit the good parts. It's an 8 or 9 hour stream. I'm not going to go watch 8 hours. They edit the good parts. They put it into a video. They put it on. Look how many subs Ninja has on YouTube.
At least 10 million.
It's insane. And that was over like a year. YouTube wins because all of these people are making YouTube channels and posting all their stuff on YouTube. And I would argue to say a majority of people watch the stuff on YouTube.
That's fair. I think it's fair to say most of these, and here's the other thing about, live streaming versus video on demand. Most people, this is backed up by the fact that YouTube is so big, most people watch video on demand. They just have more time. You have a job during the day, you go home. If someone's not streaming, hey, I'll watch a highlight on YouTube later.
Yep.
All these streamers are going to be uploading highlights to YouTube, where they will continue to use that platform for what it does best, which is dominate every other video platform that exists right now. That's a very good point for YouTube winning this. I guess my other question is, do you see Mixer? Who's their next big pickup, and will it matter?
Who's the next big pickup that would matter?
What's your prediction?
Dr. Disrespect's the big one. He's claimed they don't have enough of a community.
Is he the biggest fish on Twitch right now?
I don't want to say. There's another streamer named Lyric. I don't watch too much. There's Summit. I'd say Doc's probably the biggest one.
Okay.
I don't know if he'll do it. There's Lyric is very big. Him going over would be huge. Here's what I should say. Not specific ones. You have to get the variety game streamers. You can't get a streamer who's only big because of one specific game.
Like Ninja.
Yeah,
I guess so. So the argument is
that's more of proof of just how big Fortnite was.
Yeah,
Fortnite was gigantic.
Yeah,
but
gamers
you can switch it up.
Yeah, that makes sense. A variety stream. The Ninja was the obvious place to start, just because it was so massive. But this is something I'll continue to follow. It's kind of interesting, just like the streaming wars in general of having the actual competition between gigantic platforms about, like, can we make a real alternative to this arguable monopoly? Is it really arguable? YouTube's a monopoly.
Yeah.
But if we actually create alternatives, that's something I'm willing to support. Competition happens, we win. Maybe Twitch's best defense is just fixing their moderation. What's their best defense? Throwing money at creators to stay, which is kind of what YouTube had to do for a little bit.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because Mixer pulling, that's a bargaining chip.
Right.
So Mixer is bad for Twitch for that reason. Also, it's a huge bargaining. Doc goes to re-sign his. We're just using Doc as an example.
Sure.
We don't know any of this, but goes to re-sign his new Twitch contract. Mixer's right around the corner.
Use that as leverage. Throw it back in their face. Bigger
leverage.
Check from Twitch.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
there you go.
Do you know who else? Tim the Tap Man. Big streamer. I love him.
Okay.
He's hilarious. If he went to Mixer, that would actually be a big problem, I think.
Huh.
He's one of those really great, fun streamers. Streams all the time. Huge community. Him going over there would be big. He plays with Ninja a lot too.
All right. So there it is. We have our predictions. We have our sort of big five. If they went over there, that would be fun to follow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say they're next. This is my totally uneducated prediction.
Let's go.
They're gonna sign Doc. Okay. They're gonna do it. They're gonna offer him way more money, which is why they got Ninja. And then they're gonna start to sign people for less because people just want to go over there because it's cool.
All the streaming talk. It's a cool way of creating content. I would love to have a streamer on the show someday. Just putting that out there.
That would be nice.
Anyone listening, if you're a fairly big streamer, you don't need to be Ninja. But I would just love to have someone on here who's a full-time streamer. I'd love to know their day. I'd love to know how they get amped up to stream for 8 hours and be on in front of a live audience all the time. That's insane.
I think about that. I met a streamer, and I'm going to forget his name, but
Nick A30.
Nick A30. We were shooting YouTube Rewind, actually.
Yeah.
And I talked to him because he was streaming on YouTube for like multiple hours per day. And all of us, even in the room, in the green room behind the scenes, were just grilling him about it. Like, so how many hours do you shoot? And you're like, wait, you're spending time here to shoot YouTube Rewind and actively thinking about how you're not streaming? Like, the schedule these guys have is crazy. So, yeah, that whole world is fascinating. Sure, I'll put that out. If you're a big streamer, or if you know a big streamer you would like to be on the podcast, tweet at him.
Yeah, please tweet at him.
Tag him.
If you want to do Siegel, if you listen, I'm a huge fan. You want to come on? Marquez probably has no idea who you are because he doesn't play Overwatch, but that's fine. Any other big streamers, we would love to have you on, and it doesn't just have to be one. We can have a few.
All right.
I just want to know.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back for some Techober Q&A.
Cool.
This episode of Waveform is brought to you by ExpressVPN. So in September, we saw Capital One announce that over 100 million people had their personal information stolen in a major data breach. Super personal information like social security numbers, contact details, and credit scores, they were all taken from Capital One customers, and there's a very good chance you were affected. And even if you aren't a Capital One customer, we see breaches like this more and more frequently. In the past few years, we've seen huge companies like Equifax, Facebook, eBay, Uber, PlayStation, and Yahoo all be victims of attacks that have leaked the personal information of billions of people. Now, you can't control how big corporations may mishandle your data, but you can protect yourself online with ExpressVPN. So ExpressVPN is an app for your phone or computer that secures your data through encryption. So hey, if a breach can happen to a huge company like Capital One, it can happen to you, right? If you really care about your online privacy and safety, you shouldn't go online without a secure tool like ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN connects with just one click and is lightning fast, and best of all, it costs less than $7 a month. ExpressVPN is rated #1 VPN provider by TechRadar, CNET, The Verge, and countless others. You can use my special link, expressvpn.com/wave right now to arm yourself with an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Support the show and protect yourself. That's expressvpn.com/wave for an extra 3 months free.
All right, we're back. We asked everyone on Twitter if they wanted to ask some questions. This is kind of the end of Techtober. I think, this is officially coming out in November, so Techtober is officially over if you are listening to
What a
this.
season. I mean, it still bleeds over into the next month.
Yeah, I mean, basically up till Christmas, it's still pretty wild, but the official Techtober is over.
So this is the last Q&A of said month?
Yeah.
All right, we've got some good ones already.
Do you want to go first?
So I have one, I'm going to not try to pronounce names because I made that mistake already, but they ask, Red axing their phone market, do you think they would do a better job of supplying sensors to phone manufacturers like Samsung does for displays, or is it better for them to just stick to high-end cameras? And that's interesting because they do make their own silicon, they make those sensors, and they also make the entire image processing pipeline from that capture to the actual finished media. So I guess it would be kind of interesting to see them make sensors and ship them, but I wonder if that greatness would translate because they don't do the software anymore.
It's just probably an entirely different way of creating a sensor when you're doing something so small for a phone rather than a big full frame sensor for a camera.
So it is still on a basic level the same. A CMOS sensor is a CMOS sensor, and they obviously can do great technology with pixel binning and all sorts of other things with focus. They don't do autofocus, so like I'm sure you'd want some hybrid of the technologies Red makes versus what others make. But yeah, the same way we see like smartphone cameras get better when you install the Google Camera app.
Yeah,
it's because the software makes a huge difference in today's world of computational photography. So I almost think they probably wouldn't be able to translate their greatness to a smartphone unless they just made their own phone. So
yeah, except that they made their own phone and they used the Sony sensors. So
yeah, so
in some cases, yeah, if Red wanted to fully change course of their company and put all their research and development into creating a sensor for a phone, cool. They'd probably make something awesome.
That's what I originally when I heard Red was making a phone, that's what I originally thought that they were going to do. I thought this was finally going to be a pocketable Red camera, which would have been like a totally different thing and totally different direction that they went. But I think today in this world of computational photography, where you need to be a software company to do this well,
yeah, for sure,
that's tough.
All right, I have one. This is from Joe.
Well, that's easy to pronounce.
Yeah, that was an easy one. Almost messed it up, but I held strong. What are each of your personal favorite Easter eggs that you've hidden in videos? His favorite is the trash can Mac Pro. For those of you who don't know that was probably like almost 3 years ago.
He's talking about the one where the Mac Pro is in the background, but looked like it was like had trash in it.
Yeah, it's in the position where your trash can is for a lot of A-roll, and we took it, we replaced the trash can with it, put the trash can looking Mac Pro there, and put a bunch of crumpled paper in it to make it look like an overflowing trash can.
I love that. That's one of my favorites.
That's definitely up top. I think this is something some people don't get all the time. That was a pretty obvious one, but we love to do stuff like this.
Oh, if you haven't noticed, I mean, there's the word Easter egg is kind of funny, but we hide things in videos pretty much constantly.
Yeah, I think our new one is and it's not so much hidden, but we have this skeleton that we have at the office right now, and now for Halloween is perfect. But we put it in the background of videos all the time. I think the first time we ever did it was kind of against a white wall, so you could just barely see it. It was in Brandon's desk, I think.
The skull, yeah.
So that's what we've been hiding a lot. We've done some really, really hard to find. The one that I remember, and I don't remember what video is in, I don't think a single person noticed, but remember when HomePod used to leave a ring on wooden tables?
The residue white ring. Yeah.
So we had a piece of wood that we used for top downs that got the ring on it, and we specifically moved the ring in frame to another video, almost as like in our top down sets, we have stuff around the edge of the frame. We almost used it as a prop on the edge of the frame, but I don't think anyone noticed it.
We do a lot of these Easter eggs and like hiding things in videos, and some of them are obviously much more appreciated and noticed than others, but I always check the comments just to see how many people have noticed them. Plenty of them go unnoticed, and it's hard to think of like my favorite one off the top of my head, but there's a lot of good ones. All right, I have one from, not going to say the name. In one of your videos in 2018, I said, that OnePlus has A+ performance and a C+ camera, and Pixel has C+ performance and an A+ camera. Do these still hold true for this year's phones for the same companies, or have they improved on these? So if I use a OnePlus 7T Pro and Pixel 4, I think these ratios hold about the same. OnePlus still has A+ performance, and I'd say they have a B to a B, about a B to B+ camera. And then I'll say Pixel has about B to B+ performance now and still has the A+ camera.
Yeah, I feel like their performance went up. The limiting factor is how long the performance will actually stay alive before you charge it again.
Yeah. Luckily, both these phones get fast software updates, and a lot of the other things about them is great. But yeah, if there's other factors to consider. There's battery life, there's other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say those ratios are actually still kind of similar. Someone named Jason asked, we all know you're a huge fan of Tesla, but with Porsche having what seems like the first legitimate competitor, would you ever consider switching? For a brief second, I did, like before I placed my order, and then I thought about charging, and I said, never mind. The supercharger network is just a huge game changer. So I did think about it for a second, but there was no chance.
So in the future when charging's more available,
Yeah.
thoughts about potentially, I mean, things are going to change a lot then. There'll probably be more people in the manufacturing, but would you say you're completely locked into Tesla, or when the correct competition comes around with the correct ecosystem for it to strive as well as Tesla?
Yeah, I think as a product, the Porsche is looked at as a competitor, but like I mentioned earlier in that video, they're kind of not also. Like they both happen to be electric cars, but the Model 3 is kind of more of a competitor to the Model S in my use case than the Porsche is. The Porsche's 50 grand more. The Model S has a ton more storage, which I value. It has autopilot, which I value. It has a supercharger network, which I value. It has all the other entertainment features in the center console, which I value. And of course, there's other things that the Porsche does well. But as far as like a product that I actually would like for my daily life, which is my commute and going to tournaments and doing road trips with the supercharger network, like it was kind of a no-brainer. So
cool.
Yeah, I think Model 3 is the closest thing to driven me away from Model S.
All right, I have one from
Go for it. Do it.
User Taven. Sorry.
So you see why I don't.
There's
right?
just that probably will be my last time attempting to.
It was worth a shot.
Okay, so he has 3 questions. One, I'm just gonna ask one of them. What are your thoughts about the rumors of Google buying Fitbit?
Fitbit. So the fitness bands.
Yeah.
I could see it happening. The question would be, are they going to use that acquisition to like build in Fitbit tech into like a great Google smartwatch? Or are they going to make like a Pixel watch or something?
I mean, I'm
like
sure
that?
the reason it has hype behind it, that rumor, is a potential Google smartwatch, right? Because Fitbit does have, I forget the name of it. They have a like full watch face watch. It's not just a little like bracelet type looking band.
Okay.
I don't know how good it is. I haven't tried it. I know some people who liked it a lot. It's big. It's square, kind of like the.
Okay. Sounds like a Fitbit.
Can smartwatches stop making square watches? I want a smartwatch that looks like a real watch.
Dude, it's going to take Apple making a circular Apple Watch for anyone to go back to that train.
Moto, please. It
used to be a thing. LG made one for a little while. I think they still make a circular. Yes, they still make a circular smartwatch for Android phones. Samsung still makes a circular watch. I loved the Moto 360. That was one of the early ones with the little flat tire at the bottom. Right. But it had a thin bezel, and like that was really nice. But now we do get a lot of squares because Apple makes a square Apple Watch. I don't know. I'm still an Apple Watch person. That sort of ecosystem tie-in matters too. I have friends that I compete with in like the little fitness tracker thing. So yeah, it is what it is.
I'm excited. I want an Android smartwatch pretty bad. I know everyone's gonna be like, use the Galaxy Watch, use whatever. I don't know. None of them have really caught my eye, but it just needs to be Circle. Please be Circle.
Yeah,
Google,
I think
please.
watches are actually a very, very design-based decision because they all, at the end of the day, have pretty much the same functionality, right?
Yeah.
If you have a watch, it tells the time. It may track your steps and your fitness and maybe give you some notifications and some shortcuts to apps, and that's pretty much it.
The funny thing is telling the time's not even... It's a watch. The couple times I do wear watches for like nice occasions, every time I need to see the time, I pull my phone out of my pocket.
Same.
It's just I'm not used to it.
It happens to tell the time. I think I've gotten used to actually checking my watch now that I wear Apple Watch more. But yeah, it's a very fitness-driven. Sorry, it's a very fashion-driven decision. So yeah, it's gonna have to look good too. I like this one from someone named Evan who says, "Do you think there will be a point when people won't want to watch your videos because you're too old? Here, for example, a 54-year-old MKBHD reviewing the latest iPhone 33. And I think that's probably one of my bigger fears. Is actually one of my biggest fears in life. I have 2 big fears, actually. Thanks for bringing these up, Evan. One of my big fears is, you know, that old guy in the left lane who's completely unaware that he's blocking traffic and just getting blasted past people on the right lane? If I'm ever that guy, take away my license. Just take it away. I don't want to be that guy. And the other fear I have is, you know, maybe it happens a little bit with like social stuff like TikTok or whatever, but like being the totally out of touch, like old tech reviewer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't even think that really exists because everyone's sort of been in this game for maybe a decade, right? Maybe 20 years because tech, as the way it exists today, there's so many people who've been doing it for so long. But being that like 50-year-old guy who's like Why do I need this extra camera? Or like, imagine like,
why are they putting that iMac Pro on a stand that doesn't even come with
like all these things today? Like, I'm glad I can still properly evaluate products in like a meaningful way, but I am terrified of being like the old curmudgeon-y tech reviewer. Like, I remember buttons. Everything should have buttons again.
So, here's something that might make you feel a little bit better if you think about it. Your audience now will also continue to get old.
True.
So maybe to the younger audience, you're that old.
We'll just all bond together about how old tech was the best. Because you know how old people today think everything old was better.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a whole world of people who love the old stuff, and I hope to remain forward thinking enough to not become that person super soon. My birthday's coming up. I feel like 26. I'm gonna feel old, but whatever. We'll get there.
I'm almost 30.
We'll get there, man. We're going to be looking back at the good old days where phones had Face ID and screens made of glass that didn't fold.
No, I feel like it's more like we're going to be looking back where phones weren't completely screens.
Yeah.
Or were physical.
They had character.
Yeah.
They had like a tactile feel, and they were made of metal, and they had ports.
And they broke.
And they broke when you plugged them in.
Wow. Do you think we're going to get to a point where phones don't break because they're not physical?
No, that's something I'm confident about. Tech will always break.
Tech will always break. Okay, so where did we start this at? Let's go to the next question.
Yeah,
I've derailed this so far.
Let's leave that train off the rails. Someone says, what's with that Moto event coming up? A clamshell folding phone? Is that happening? Motorola hasn't made a lot of great things recently. And that's a fair point. But I think what we're kind of expecting or hoping for, despite the total lack of any leaks, is something like a folding phone version of the original Motorola Razr. And I think that is the most optimistic thing we can expect.
Yeah.
Just because of what we've seen in folding phones lately. If Motorola were to suddenly come along and do a folding phone better than everyone else, like to have that, folding display on the inside and have like a clamshell design and not have a huge problem with durability, that would be amazing. But I'll be there, and I'm just going to wait and see. I'll bring a camera.
Yeah, here's my thing is that the original Razr, kind of what was so good about it was that it was so thin. So I hope that they can bring an extremely thin phone that's folding over, so when it is folded, it's about the same size as a regular phone. That sounds like no way it could happen, but we were talking about this the other day because did Samsung show a concept, or did someone show a concept?
Samsung showed a concept of a vertical folder.
A vertical folder that just looked kind of like an S10 Plus,
yeah,
but folded over, and we were debating, would I rather have one long skinny phone in my pocket or a shorter but double as thick phone in my pocket?
So my question with this vertical folder thing is, why do I want it to fold? Like, the whole point of a folder for me is you get to fit a bigger screen in your pocket than you normally could have. But when you have this like vertical phone that's like a normal size, all you're doing by folding it is just making it like, a little thicker and like half the vertical size, but it's going to fit in your pocket anyway. So I guess I would want like a huge screen out of that, which seems kind of weird to have a huge vertical screen, but yeah, I don't know. That's something will remain to be seen. I'm interested, though. I'll be at the event. I think that's going to be a fun one. Okay, I got a good, unique one from Jacob here.
Okay.
What's the most unusual tech support you've had from a family member? So I guess some sort of call they made where there's some weird issue went wrong.
All right.
And I know you've worked in IT, so you've probably had a lot of weird tech support calls.
I have a great IT one.
Okay.
I'll do two. I'll do a family and I'll do an IT one.
Okay.
The family one's much quicker. I'm not going to name names because I think some of my family listens to this. So I had somebody who was with a friend, and they just called and said, hey, isn't there a Find My iPhone app? I was like, yeah, I don't use iPhone, but there is one. They're like, okay, how do we get it? And eventually I go through, teach them how to do it. And then they're like, okay, well, thank you. We're going to go look. We left the iPad on top of the car and drove away with it on the car. And it wasn't there when we got back. So now we're going to go use this. And they found it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least
I forget if
was it on the side of the road somewhere broken, or did it?
I don't. Yeah.
I've had a weird story where a friend left his phone on top of the car, drove through an entire town, and pulled in our driveway, got out the car, and it was still on top of the car.
I did that with my laptop moving in college.
A laptop?
Yeah, but those rubber feet on the bottom of a MacBook.
Oh,
Saved it.
yeah.
It was a very short. It was when I was moving from moving stuff from a college dorm to my off-campus apartment.
Okay, across town or something.
Yeah, so it wasn't very far, but
That's
they'll
impressive.
stick. My IT story is a little more fun, but a little more in depth. I worked at a company where we were kind of a middleman between providing shipping from UPS to smaller companies. So I did a lot of work with label printers. So people would ship stuff. You would print labels out of these terrible, terrible Zebra label printers that broke nonstop.
Sounds like a printer.
Yeah, man, it was. I feel like it's literally the worst thing you could do in IT. Is the worst thing you could do at home is trying to get your printer to work and then do that as a job.
Wow.
It was pretty bad. But other than that, we had, for smaller customers, they didn't have a standalone shipping program. They did it all online, and they had to install Java in order to get, I don't know how Java works too well, but they needed Java in order to enter in all the information and send it to the Zebra printer. So I would get calls every single day saying, my Java's out of date. I need you to update it because apparently just clicking yes, it's out of date and letting it automatically do it was too hard. So I had to I couldn't remote into this guy's computer because he couldn't figure out how to do it. So I tried to explain him on the phone. I'm asking him questions. It's not working. The number one rule when you're doing IT is start as literally as simple as possible. I mean, like to the point where it's like, is the damn computer on?
Yeah.
So it was on. Then you have to start trying to figure out what internet browser they're using because that helps a little bit. This was right around that time where Java was starting to get taken off of like Chrome.
Okay.
So do you know what internet browser you're using? No. Okay.
What does the logo look like?
Exactly. Is it a circle with red, yellow, and green? No. All right. Is it blue with some orange around the outsides? Firefox? Nope. Okay. It's Internet Explorer. So it's a blue E. No. You're on Windows, right? Yeah. Okay. Please, when you go to click the button for the internet, can you hover your mouse over it and a little thing should pop up? What does it say? And he's like, AOL. I was like, you have to be kidding me. He had to have heard me laugh because he went, this is pretty old, isn't it? And I was like, it is.
Yeah,
He thought it was hilarious. He was like, oh man, I'm really showing my age. I went through and installed Internet Explorer for him and everything and got just like a shortcut. I got a shortcut set up for him so he could just double click the shortcut and it would go right to our landing page to do all the shipping he needed to do. But
wow,
that was a fun one. Probably took like 25-30 minutes to find out he was using AOL, which obviously doesn't support.
My favorite part of that is that you upgraded someone to Internet Explorer. That's incredible.
The browser that's only there so you can download Chrome or Firefox.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, they've tried to work out of that with Edge, but that's what they are.
Yeah, but have you tried Edge? No, I haven't, and I don't plan on it.
Sorry, Chrome's still fine. No. Well, I don't have many tech support stories. I mean, my family, my dad actually works in tech. He's good with tech.
Okay.
My sister kind of has this like a force field around her where tech within a couple meters of her just spontaneously breaks. I think that's how it works. Like she'll hold the other day she texted me like I think she said, are FaceTime cameras in Macs supposed to be like pretty bad? And I was like, yeah, they're pretty bad. She sends me a video and it looks like the 1,000th upload of our video project. She's like, is it supposed to be this bad? I was like, I have no idea what's wrong with your computer. But I usually just end up telling them to, upgrade, just get a new webcam or just get a new trackpad or a mouse. So yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at. I think that's a good one to end it on, though. That was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for the questions. Techtober has been a blast, but we're heading right into, Techvember? That's a little weird.
Let's just call it November.
Let's call it November, but it'll be a tech-heavy one. We'll be back with the videos. Thank you so much for sending in your questions and for listening and for watching, and we'll catch you guys soon.
Make sure to give us a follow or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Waveform is brought to you by Studio 71, and our intro-outro song is by Cameron Barlow.